On March 25, 2002, Deep Impact was foaled on the northern farm of Hayakita, Hokkaido, Japan to sire Sunday Silence and Damn Wind in Her Hair. The foundation of Deep Impact's career began in December 2004 at the Hanshin racecourse, claiming first place. Later on, Deep Impact went on to break records and win the Triple Crown in 2005 and the Japan Cup in 2006. Expectations were high for him, as his sire was Sunday Silence, known for greatness on both hemispheres. In America, he won the Kentucky Derby, Preakness, and Breeders' Cup Classic. In Japan, he was the best sire they ever had, and Deep Impact was his greatest son. Deep Impact made his debut in a newcomer race over 2,000 meters at Hanshin Racecourse in 2004. He broke with the pack and stayed just behind the mid-pack runners for most of the race, before moving up to challenge the leaders. Coming around the home turn, he was third, and jockey Yutaka Take calmly asked him for run, and he responded beautifully by sweeping around the two horses in front and taking a commanding lead before being eased down to win easily from second-place horse Kongo Rikishio. In his second race, the Wakagoma Stakes over 2,000 meters at Kyoto Racecourse, he broke last, but this suited his closer running style. The lead horses of this went far out in front of the rest of the pack. Going around the home turn, he was fifth, but was closing rapidly on the outside, and as they hit the top of the stretch, he exploded like a bullet train down the center of the track and breezed past the other horses to win. In his third race, the Yayoi Show, which was also his first graded class race, with the Yayoi Show being a Group 2. This race was to take place at the Nakayama Racecourse over 2,000 meters as a trial race for the Satsuki Show, which is the Japanese 2,000 guineas at the same track and distance. He broke with the pack and took up his usual closer position. Coming around the home turn, Yutaka Take had him in a perfect position on the outside to explode once they got into the stretch. And when said Go Deep Impact responded beautifully, as he had done twice before, but this time it wasn't as easy as his half-brother on his father's side. Admire Japan flew up the inside to make it difficult, but Deep Impact still won without ever really being in danger of losing. Then it was time for the Satsuki Show. The first hurdle he would have to conquer if he was going to carve his way into the history books by being the 6th Triple Crown winner and being the first undefeated horse to do it since the great Simboli Rudolph in 1984. If he won the Triple Crown, it would be the crowning the achievement on Yutaka Take's already Hall of Fame career. As the gates opened, he didn't get the best of starts and was last early in this field of 18. Before the first turned, he had moved up on the outside to be closer with the trailing pack of horses. On the backstretch, he moved up to better position himself for his stretch run. Coming around the turn, he was approaching a wall of horses and had to go further outside to get running room. When got clear on the outside and Yutaka asked him to go, he blasted away like a rocket, destroying the chasing pack behind and winning ease down in the end from his half-brothers 6 Sense and Admire Japan. He had successfully won the first leg of the Triple Crown. Next up was the Tokyo Yushin, aka the Japanese Derby. In the Derby, he would have a rematch with 6 Sense and Admire Japan. He broke a little slowly from the gate, but took up his usual position at the rear end of the field. On the backstretch, he moved up along the inside rail as he had gotten an inside draw, while in the Satsuki Show he was on the outside. Coming to the final turn, and Yutaka moved him to the outside for clear running room in the stretch, and as he started to make up more and more places, the crowd roared him on like he was a Roman gladiator. As they came down the stretch, Deep Impact was flying down the center of the course and picking off horses like they were tied to a pole. Second place finisher Inti Rami fought gamely on the inside but was no match for the unparalleled strength that Deep Impact posed. He was now a double crown winner. Only one more hurdle he had to face, but it was the toughest of them all. The 3,000-meter Kikuka Show at Kyoto Racecourse during the autumn, but if any horse could do it, it was him. In between the Japan Derby and the Kikuka Show, he raced in the Group 2 Kobe Shimbum High over 2,000 meters at Hanshin Racecourse, a trial race for the Kikuka Show. He won easily, defeating 6 Sense and Rosenkreuz. It was like poetry in motion watching him race. The way he would fly past horses with his beautiful stride. He was now set for the Kikuka Show, the third leg of the Triple Crown. He would face his regular challengers, Admire Japan and 6 Sense, and he would have to defeat if he was to become the 2005 Triple Crown champion. He leapt alertly from the starting gate and was mid-pack for most of the race. Approaching the final turn, he lugged out. Approaching the final turn, he lugged outside to make his dash for Triple Crown glory. Storming down the center of the track under the screams and cheers of his thousands of fans, Deep Impact passed all of his strong but weaker adversaries and crossed the line to become 2005's Triple Crown winner. He had done it. He wrote his name permanently into the history books of Japanese racing. An undefeated Triple Crown winner, but he was not done there. His connections set their sights on the Arima Kinen, a Group 1 race over 2,500 meters at Nakayama Racecourse. This was to be his first race against older horses. He would have to beat horses such as Heart's Cry and Zeno Rob Roy, who held the record for the race at 2 min 2s and 29.5 seconds. He bounced away from the stalls good and was with the trailing pack in his usual position. As the horses made their way around the home turn, he was on the outside picking up positions and looking to make his usual mad dash to the finish line and win. But Heart's Cry had other ideas. Sitting in 4th position coming around the home turn, he was asked for run, and he picked up and went to the lead as Deep Impact was surging. Coming into the last 200 meters of the race, Deep Impact was inching closer and closer, but not fast enough as Heart's Cry still held strong on the lead. And when they reached the finish line, it was Heart's Cry, not Deep Impact, who would be crowned the Arima Kinen champion. He tried his best that day, but was most likely tired from running a grueling season already that year and needed rest. Despite this defeat, he was still crowned 3-year-old Horse of the Year, Japanese Horse of the Year, and obtained the top ranking out of all horses running at that time. He would start his 4-year season in the Hanshin Daishoten, a 3,000-meter race at Hanshin Racecourse. He would win easily by sitting mid-pack and making his move and taking the lead at the final turn, and then he ran away from his already defeated challengers. Up next was the Tenno Show Spring, a Group 1 race over 3,200 meters at Kyoto Racecourse. At the start, he jumped and missed the break a bit, but was fine as he would normally run from the back. Jockey Yutaka Take let the horse come into the race on his own and did not urge him to get up with the rest of the pack. On the backstretch, he made up places, and approaching the final turn, he breezed past the other horses to take the lead at the 600-meter pole, and he just grew wings and flew away from them to take a truly breathtaking victory. In the process, he broke the record for the race. He ran a time of 3 minutes and 3.14 seconds. Yutaka Take was left in awe of his burst of speed at the 1,000-meter mark. He remarked, "I can't imagine a stronger horse than him. You can continue to have high expectations even if we venture beyond the seas." His next race would be the Takarazuka Kinen, his last race on Japanese soil, before he would embark on a near 10,000-kilometer journey to compete in that year's Arc De Triomphe held in France. The Takarazuka Kinen is a 2,200-meter Group 1 race at Kyoto Racecourse. He had his usual start and took up position at the rear of the field. Coming around the home turn, he made his usual outside burst of speed, and when they hit the stretch, he set his sights on the lead horse, Balance of Game. He took the lead inside of 200 meters from the finish and 1 ease down. Now was his time to go to France. To win the Arc, he would have to beat horses such as Hurricane Run, Rail Link and Pride. He got off to a good start and was prominent early on. He set 3rd most of the way, and when they hit the stretch, he looked poised to blow past and win by open lengths. He took a short lead close to home, but was ran down and passed by Rail Link and Pride to finish 3rd. Even though he lost, he still fought and got a good result, plus the distance he had to travel to get to France may have affected his performance. 2 weeks after the Arc news from France, Gallup stated that he had tested positive for ipratropium. This drug is used in asthma medication and works by opening up airways in the lungs. By doing this, it gave him an unfair advantage as he could pump more blood around his body. He was stripped of his 3rd place finish and put 8th and last. It was then announced that after the Arima Kinen Deep Impact would be retired to stud in a syndication deal worth 5.1 billion yen. The race before the Arima Kinen would be the 2,400-meter Japan Cup, a Group 1 race held at Tokyo Racecourse. In this race, he would have to beat Heart's Cry, Dream Passport, and European Wondermare Ouija Board. He had his usual slow start and sat last behind Ouija Board, ridden by Frankie Dettori, who had won last year's Japan Cup on Alcaced. Coming around the home turn, he was still in the rear of the field, but was picking up a lot of ground, and as they hit the stretch and under the cheers of the fans, he picked off horses left and right. He drifted out more to the stand side and Dream Passport on the inside. and Dream Passport on the inside fought hard, but at the finish line he was the Japan Cup winner. He was now ready to avenge his loss in the previous year's Arima Kinen. He would have to beat Meisho Samson, that year's double crown winner. He broke with the back and settled down in his normal position at the rear of the field. As the horses made their way around the final turn, he was poised to make his run, and when Yutaka asked him one last time to go, he erupted and destroyed the field as the crowd cheered him on in his swan song race. He was voted Horse of the Year for a second time and also Best Older Male Horse. At the end of his racing career, he earned 1.4 billion yen in 14 races. He had 12 wins and 1 second for those 14 races, and displayed racing excellence unmatched by any horse of his era. He had a career as a sire full of success, with notable progeny being Gentle Donna, Contrail, Saxon Warrior, Danon Premium, Love's Only You, and Auguste Rodin. He was crowned champion sire of Japan for 12 consecutive years. Sadly, all good stories have to come to an end, and for Deep Impact, he died on the 30th of July 2019. Deep Impact was euthanized after suffering a cervical fracture. The 2019 Japan Cup was named in his honor as the Deep Impact Memorial, which was won by his half-brother Suave Richard.